Take two, everybody. I love how our video viewers get all of the warts. Here we go. Good morning, Stackers. Welcome to Money in the Morning with Stacky Benjamins. Cold morning in Texarkana, one of the 2 days here that we get snow. Grab your coffee, pop on the headphones, and get your personal finance on. I'm Joe Salsihai, Average Joe Money on Twitter, and let's get to this thing. Today we spun the What's Today's Headline, and we've got two great ones for you. The first one, what fiduciary advice is worth to your portfolio? Do you really need a fiduciary helping you with your portfolio? And then second is advisors at leading discount brokerage firms maybe not doing the stuff you think they're doing when you call in. We got that and a special surprise guest on today's show. Before we get to anything, today's Money in the Morning podcast is brought to you by Stacky Benjamin's courses. Who do you want to learn from? Those people that talk over your head and talk in money nerd speak? We don't want that, do we? Instead, what we really want is somebody who's going to be our friend in our corner and show us exactly what's going on with our money. And guess what? There's a brand new tax law out, and we just added a module about it to our How to Legally Cheat on Your Taxes course. So if you're somebody who always wanted to know more about how the tax rules work and now how they work when it comes to the 2018 tax changes, head to learn.stackybenjamins.com and get your learning on over there. We've got people joining us in Facebook today. Hey, Karen, welcome to the party. And you can also follow us on Twitter at any time, @BenjaminsCast. But today on My Dad's Shortwave, joining me, and he's on the high speed line, so he sounds really good today. And it is my partner on the Stacky Benjamin Show, the one and only other guy, or as we call him, OG. Dude, you're on the show.
It sounds like or it feels like I've never left the show.
I know. We were just taping Stacky Benjamin's episodes, and I said, hey, you want to be a guest? We never have guests, but you're not really a guest. You know, when people would come over to your house when you were a kid, and you wouldn't even clean up for those people. You just that's you.
Yeah, well, that's awful nice. I like how you say we're taping, because,
right. That shows I'm like 500 years old. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I get it too, but have you seen that video of the kids? Like the dad gave the kids a cassette tape, and they're like, "What is this?" And he goes, "Well, why don't you guys explore it and see what you figure it out?" And they couldn't figure it out. They're like, "Well, do you put your headphones in this?" And they're like, kind of jamming their headphones in the one. There's that one little opening,
What they didn't know is you needed a pencil, right? You got to have a pencil because it's all going to get.
Well, that's that one thing, that meme that goes around Facebook, right? Like if you know what these two things do together, then you were born in the 70s. You have a pencil and a cassette tape.
We got two things that go together here, OG. How's that for a horrible transition?
Nice. I like it. No.
Yeah, first piece comes to us from Investopedia. It's been written by David Ray, certified financial planner. And he says, the headline is, what fiduciary advice is worth to your portfolio? And I thought this is perfect for our show because it says the Vanguard Group recently tried to quantify the value of professional financial advice. You've talked about this before. They determined that even the most basic financial advice is significant. According to Vanguard, an average financial advisor may be able to boost a client's portfolio by as much as 3.75% per year over time. They call it advisor alpha. In layman's terms, this means the value of an advisor to your bottom line. While 3.75 may sound like a huge estimate of value, Vanguard's estimates only take into account the simple day-to-day activities of a basic investment manager rather than the holistic guidance of a real financial planner. And I think so. What's funny is, OG, that Vanguard's not even looking at most of the stuff that an advisor brings to the table when they show this 3.75%.
Well, and it dovetails on another report that comes out every year. A company called Dalbar does an analysis. It's called the Quantitative Analysis of Investor Behavior. And what it does is that report looks back over the last 20 years and looks at the average investment performance. So they take all of the investments that were around 20 years and average it out. And then they look at the average investor performance. So the people who invest in the average investment, right? And figure out their performance based on timings of cash flows when people buy and sell and that sort of thing. And the disparity between what the average investment does and the average investor does is that behavior factor, is that 3 or 4% annually. And when it comes to investment advisors, quite often their best advice is
do nothing.
Don't do that. Right. Yeah. Don't stop. No, we're not going to do that if I have anything to say about it. And because when people make financial decisions under duress, right, quite often they're not the greatest ones. So.
They talk about 5 ways in this piece that an advisor may have value. Number 1, behavioral coaching, to your point, to help advisors stick to a disciplined approach, or put another way, helping people avoid the big mistakes that can really cost them tons of money. Number 2, asset allocation, to divvy the investments wisely between retirement accounts and taxable accounts. Number 3, cost-effective investment, because mutual funds aren't run for free. Even the cheapest from Vanguard have fees, trading costs, cash drag, or varying tax efficiencies. And for those rare birds who are ambitious enough to dig through a full prospectus, good luck finding all the hidden fees. And then account rebalancing. And then 5, retiree spending strategies to help guide people on how best to spend their accumulated assets. My frustration with this piece is that those are all fine and good. Those weren't some of the main ways I help people. Like there were so many other people: downside protection, making sure that we're saving effectively, that we find new places to save where we didn't think we had money before, getting the estate plan running, the whole tax strategy. There's
motivating you to save a little bit more, right? I think you'd agree. Some of our job as advisors is the hope and optimism part, right? Kind of rah talk, hey, you can do this, keep your head up, save another $50 a month. I think we can do that, trying to track your goals, staying on top of the small changes or adjustments that you have to make. The problem with some of this is that it's not linear. And I think you'd agree with this too. It's not like you can say, oh, I hired an advisor, therefore my performance was 3.75% more this year. Right? It's like nothing. Big $100,000 mistake that it was avoided.
Yeah, and it's also hard to quantify. You can't quantify mistakes that you didn't make either, right. Or it's difficult to quantify that. People look at, well, what did you add? Well, I made sure you didn't step in these 7 things. Like, how do you go back?
How do you know I would have anyway? Exactly.
Right. Exactly. What's interesting to me is that we get letters all the time on the Stacking Benjamin show, as you know, which people say, my fees now are 0.6. And I want them to go down to 0.15, right? And man, if I look at that 0.6 versus 0.15, that's a lot of money. And the answer is yes, it is. Yet Vanguard, the purveyors of the cheapest funds on earth, are the ones saying, you're fighting the wrong dragon, man. That is, don't get me wrong, fees are important, and making sure that you're getting something for what you pay is important, not the big dragon.
Well, I do point to that, and to this study. They've done it for a number of years, but on occasion, right, when someone talks to me in a discovery meeting or something and says, how do we quantify what kind of results, maybe is a fair way to say it, that we should expect, when working with, professional you or someone else. And I'll point to this. I'll say, well, I don't know, but even Vanguard suggests that there's something,
I think we'll leave that piece.
And it's true.
Yeah. I think we'll leave that piece there. But the takeaway there, I think, is ask if your advisor is a fiduciary, and that seems to be some money in your pocket, according to this piece and according to Vanguard. Our second piece comes to us from Investopedia. That was the first piece, was from Investopedia. How about that? Second piece comes to us from the Wall Street Journal. This one made me sick. Advisors at leading discount brokers win bonuses to push higher priced products. Did you know about this?
Did I know about the article, or did I know about that this happens?
Did you know that this happens?
Well, yeah, of course. That sounded very accusatory. Like, did you know about this?
Did you know that?
Like what mom used to yell at us about. Right?
This is written by Jason Zweig. We got to get Jason Zweig on the show, and Turgeson. At Fidelity, Schwab, and TD Ameritrade, employees win extra pay and other incentives to put clients in products that are more lucrative for them and the firm. The piece says investors who seek advice from discount brokerage firms might assume the counsel they get is impartial, given how these firms have rejected the old Wall Street model working on commissions. In fact, advisors of some of the biggest discount brokerage firms make more money if they steer clients toward more expensive products, according to disclosures from the firms and people who used to work at them. It sounds a little bit like, I remember this thing, Best Buy. Remember this? Back in the early days, Best Buy said that they didn't pay their salespeople out on the floor a commission, so you could be rest assured. But then you find out they got something, they didn't call it a commission, it was called a spiff. We're just going to call it something else. So these people are paid a set amount, but I get a spiff if I sell enough of the stuff that Best Buy wants me to sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, again, this is just, you just have to know what you're dealing with, right? And like where the incentives lie, and for what. I know plenty of people, and I'm sure you do too, that work in this arena, both on the independent side, where they really try to focus on their, clients themselves. And then also on this side, the discount fidelity rep type of thing. And everybody's got something, right, at these places that they're trying to sell, right? It's not that there's anything wrong with it. You just have to know what you're getting yourself into. Why did you want me to put my money into the Umpty Frats managed program? Like, what's in it for you, Mr. Broker?
A lot of talk lately about the fiduciary rule that seems to have gone down in flames now.
Oh, it's coming back. You'll see.
But and you see suitability. These firms work under suitability rules, right? Which means the product has to be suitable. So in this case, the product is suitable, but a fiduciary probably wouldn't choose them.
Yeah, and the major difference is that, think about it this way. According to the law, a 80-year-old widow with $100,000, it's suitable to have 50% of her money in a illiquid, non-traded real estate investment trust. That's what the law says is suitable. Is that in her best interest? Probably not. And that's the distinction.
Yeah, good stuff there. And our takeaway, which I'll put up on the screen for everyone watching us live on Facebook, same takeaway as we had with the first one. Ask if your advisor's a fiduciary. Lots of fiduciary talk on today's show, since we have one here with us today. You can find OG and I every Monday, Wednesday, Friday over on the bigger, longer, wackier. Is wackier what we want to be known as? Funner?
Most funner.
Be most funner. Right.
Be most funner. Yes.
Stacking Benjamin show. And dude, thanks for being the first guest and maybe the last guest ever on Money in the Morning. Normally
it's hard to get better from here.
It's all down. This is the peak of the Money in the Morning podcast having you here, man. Thanks a ton. All right, everybody, go stack some Benjamins. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Money in the Morning is created by Joe Saul-Sehy and is brought to our channels by our producer and engineer, Richie Rutter-Reese. Stacking Benjamins and Money in the Morning are for entertainment purposes. Before making moves, consult with your financial advisor. Looking for training sessions? Kathleen Selimans has a great suite of Stacking Benjamins tools, so head on over to learn.stackingbenjamins.com. Hoping to chat with us on the web? Say hello to Shannon Cowan, our social media guru and community manager in our Facebook group. She can be found at stackingbenjamins.com/basement. From the basement, I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. See you tomorrow.